Windhoek, with its 200,000 inhabitants, is the flourishing capital of Namibia. From here, we shall travel through this country and experience the magic of the Black Continent. Dating back to colonial times, the Christ Church is a reminder of the end of hostilities between the Germans and the indigenous population during the period when it was known as German West Africa. With typical German organisational skills, in 1891, the colonial rulers made Windhoek the capital of a huge conservation area. The German influence is still in evidence today, as can be seen on various dwellings and monuments. This is quite an unusual exotic mix. The oldest buildings are located in the inner city. Colonial architecture rubs shoulders with modern high-rise buildings, and souvenirs carved of wood confirm that we are in Africa. The station has a long history. From here, the whole country was supplied with goods. In the Trans-Namib Transport Museum, railway enthusiasts are taken on a nostalgic journey of Southwest Africa. From this fully restored station that is reminiscent of those in Germany, a luxurious train from Windhoek to Swakopmund departs several times a week. It's called the Desert Express. Slowly, the stylish train pulls out of the station. Built in 1998, this modern train is characterised by its noble elegance. Comfortable chairs are available in the bar compartment. The restaurant wagon caters for every taste. We travel through the barren and prairie-like Comas Highlands. But soon the train stops in an open area of land, from which a safari bus collects the passengers. A short journey leads into the isolated loneliness of the prairie. Then a short walk, and we reach our destination. Lion feeding in the Okapuka Ranch. An Austrian transformed this into his home so that he could also keep lions in their natural environment. Another short stop in a nearby camp, and then it's back to the moving hotel. The journey continues into the evening and slowly leads along a stretch of single track, uphill into the Namib Desert. during the night, the train has travelled far into the desert. On both sides of the track, the scenery appears to be lonely and lifeless. Namibia, named after the Namib, the oldest desert in the world, which in the language of the Nama tribe means the place where there is nothing. The engines are turned off on a free stretch of line, and nothing stands in the way of a short trip to the nearby sand dunes. An extraordinary adventure can begin. Next, the passengers board the train once again, and the journey continues slowly towards the Atlantic Ocean. Soon we have reached Swakopmund, the terminal of this extraordinary train journey. Popular holiday resort that was created at the mouth of the River Swakop. On August the 4th, 1892, members of a German gunboat hoisted a flag to show that they had taken possession of the land. A harbour was established. For 10 years, everything that was used in German West Africa found its way through this harbour. Thus, a regular trade route between Swakopmund and Hamburg was created. A little of Germany on the edge of the desert. Today, several German names indicate who the founding fathers were. It's impossible not to recall the past. A large number of these buildings were constructed in Jugendstil style that was very popular in colonial times. They were built in the desert sand for all eternity. But modern shopping centres also found their way here, and now cater for the whim of every holidaymaker. Here, there are architectural treasures that were rented out at the time of the Kaiser, and are reminiscent of houses in Berlin. It's a part of Germany that no longer exists in Germany itself, and the well-looked-after seafront of this holiday paradise appears through the mist. Swakopmund is also the ideal starting point for a flying safari over the Skeleton Coast, the treacherous North Atlantic coast. This coast was so named because of the countless stranded ships and thousands of drowned seafarers who became trapped in this dangerous, fog-shrouded place. Today it is the home of seals. After a fascinating hour's journey across the sea, the tiny plane returns to the well-kept airport. A small group of people is standing in the airport, watching everything from a safe distance and enjoying the cool night air. Moon Valley looks bizarre and extraterrestrial. For millions of years it has withstood the eroding power of the Swakop River. Even though it lies only a few kilometers from Swakopmund, this landscape is totally different. It's understandable that this is a national nature conservation area. With its deep-cut valleys and no vegetation in sight, the endless rocky landscape seems unfriendly, life-threatening and impassable. It's therefore not surprising to discover that here in the middle of this stone desert, open-cast mining gave rise to the extraction of radioactive uranium. This, the largest uranium mine in the world, provides 1 million tons of raw material each week. Under these extreme climatic conditions, and in the middle of this sandy no-man's land, grows one of the oldest plants in the world, the Welwitschia mirabilis. This ugly heap of what at first sight looks like withered leaves is a botanical rarity and was discovered in 1859 by Friedrich Welwitsch. Between the Kaiser and the Swakop rivers extends a sparsely vegetated rubble plain, broken up by small rocky mountains. Characteristic of Namibia's extreme climate are long arid periods interspersed by heavy rainfall. The cracked arid earth absorbs the few remnants of dew from the early morning mist. In spite of this, plant life has adapted to this extensive desert region. Back again to Swakopmund, the journey takes us further south along the Atlantic coast. Here, the Namib Desert reaches to the sea, a so-called coastal desert, with only 20 millimeters of annual rainfall. There is also the occasional fisherman, watched over by nosy pelicans, waiting eagerly to see if there is something to eat. There are also seagulls that are a little faster and more agile. They don't waste time and always find something to eat. The great outdoor pleasure of this dune landscape is of course connected with sound. Some use the wind's currents to go paragliding. The most popular activity is a ride on the roller coaster, a small motor-driven vehicle similar to a ride on lawnmower. Several vehicles travel in columns as far as possible up the dunes. Now the adventure can begin. As the desert sand sprays sideways, driving through the sand is just as slippery and unpredictable as ice. There's little time for such pursuits, because now we are already on the route heading south. We pass small newly built settlements that look as if they've come straight out of a do-it-yourself catalogue. Almost like the backdrop of a film set. Just a short way along the coast until we reach the final harbour town. Walvis Bay is located on a lagoon surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean and the golden sand dunes of the Namib. This is the greatest source of salt in the whole of Africa. Enormous seawater basins were built alongside banks of endless dike roadways. As the water evaporates, salt is retained. Well-kept houses with small gardens indicate the affluence of these hard-working people, but empty streets show just how small the population is. Walvis Bay is also the centre of a lucrative fishing industry. It has the only deep water harbour in southern Africa's Atlantic coastline. Here, children have natural rhythm in their blood. There are often large groups of flamingos that hunt for food in the waters of the lagoon. A desirable feeding place on the edge of the endless desert. The journey travels through the desolate stretches of the Namib Desert Park. There will never be mass tourism in the country's greatest national park. Bumpy rubble tracks lead through the northern section in never-ending fields of quartz debris that are separated from the sea by a line of dunes. It took almost 90 years for the park to reach its current size, a 50,000 square kilometre area, the largest conservation region in Africa. This nature conservation area contains an amazing range of landscapes, from mountains and flat steppe areas to a desert that contains massive dunes. The journey through the park leads to winding mountain roads across the Gamberg Pass. For the first time we see the quiver tree, which thrives in arid conditions. The people of San gave it its name. They used its tall branches as quivers for their arrows. As the journey continues, we come across a huge plough. Bold mountain roads wend their way through the rugged landscape. still higher. These bumpy tracks are regularly smoothed out by the vehicles that traverse them, the stones becoming evenly distributed. Finally, we arrive on a high plateau. The play of colours is both unreal and fascinating, a place of solitude and dryness, and only seldom do we see an isolated farm. A family of ostriches rests in the shade of the only tree in the vicinity. And our journey continues, because the road is stone hard from the pressure of previous vehicles. Small stones strike our vehicle and it begins to vibrate. A small track leads us into the valleys of the Naukluft Mountains until we reach Buelsport. Now there's vegetation once again. Here there are farms with cattle and crops due to the mountains that move the hot desert air upwards, which, when it becomes cool, frequently bring rain. We soon leave the mountain area again and travel deeper into the centre of the Naukluft Park. The landscape opens up, and now there are more small, white, isolated mountains as the route points in the direction of the desert. The extensive grassy high plateaus serve as a sanctuary for the people of the original Nama tribe, who were not prepared to make conservation agreements with the German colonials. In Sesriem, we finally reach the specially conserved dune area of Sossusvlei. Only daytime visitors are allowed here. The dusty track runs parallel to the dried-up Chauchab River. At 45 meters high, there is probably the most famous dune in the world, Dune 45. Practically every visitor makes the effort to climb this dune, and they are rewarded with the pleasure of going down it by taking huge strides. The Namib Desert is one of the driest regions on Earth. Tons of sand masses, billions of dust particles and grains of sand. We continue, going further and deeper into the desert until we reach the end of the road. From here on, only all-terrain vehicles are suitable for further progress. With great effort, the vehicle hauls itself through the desert sand. It seems that we have reached the end of civilization. Here, there's blistering heat and only cracks in the mud floor of a dried-up oasis waterhole. A tree stands in stark isolation. It spreads out its branches mystically. We are delighted when our driver asks us to return to the vehicle. The adventure is going according to plan. The return to the entrance of the dune conservation area is still a long way off. The sun is sinking fast and alters the colours of the dunes. The day is drawing to a close. During the lonely journey, we experience a dramatic play of colours, from the darkest brown of the shade to the most dazzling yellow of the sunlight. And above, clouds float gently in the deep blue sky. With the last rays of the setting sun, we reach the camp. Animals are also anxious to reach the security of their night quarters in good time. Some are in a great hurry. In the early hours of the morning, it's necessary to return to the bumpy road once again, deep into the south of the country. Namibia has one of the most varied terrains in the whole of southern Africa, and each visitor becomes an explorer in this fascinating desert land. sand and steppes as far as the eye can see, the journey travels through a biblical landscape. The magic of the desert won't let go. This is how it looks, the Africa of myth and legend. At one of the few crossroads, it's difficult to decide which way to go. Here, it's wise to take the advice of the local inhabitants. At last, the continuous jolting comes to an end, and once again, there's a main road, the National B1, that leads directly south. After a long day, the sun sets, and in the last light of day we drive along the edge of the desert back to the sea. Lüderitz, the southernmost tip of our journey. This rocky bay was discovered in 1488 by the Portuguese explorer Bartolomeu Dias. And Adolf Lüderitz bought the bay and the surrounding hinterland from a Nama chief for 10,000 Reichmarks and 260 rifles. At that time, no one knew of the large diamond mines that would bring prosperity to the town. The colonial buildings in Jugendstil gave the small town around the Diamond Mountain its typical German atmosphere. At the same height as a stone church stands the Gurkha house that belongs to the director of the Diamond Company. These days, diamonds are no longer mined in Lüderitz, and its few inhabitants live primarily from catching lobsters. At the small airport near the town, our aircraft is preparing for takeoff. A last glimpse at the sand-covered ghost town of Kolmanskop, one of the former settlements of the Diamond Company, and the last leg of our journey has begun. We cross Namibia from south to north. The Namib Desert majestically displays itself once again. Only from here can its enormous size be fully appreciated. a land of natural wonders, where desert dreams and endless wide open spaces are even now waiting to be discovered. After a 5-hour flight, we reach Atocha Park, located in the far north of Namibia. From the camp to the park entrance is not very far. A safari vehicle brings us to the first waterhole, where several giraffes drink undisturbed. It is true that Etosha is a hostile area, known as the place of dry water, but it is also an animal's paradise, and each day a celebration of creation takes place here. Namutoni Camp is in the centre of the park. Its history dates back to 1851. At that time, explorers set up camp at the Namutoni Spring. From various watchtowers there is a breathtaking panorama of the fort and over the seemingly endless stretch of this wonderful landscape. Close to the gigantic Etosha Pan, thirsty antelopes and zebras rendezvous at a watering hole. The air is clean, with no predators lurking. A group of elephants have chosen another watering hole. Here they drink and play for as long as it gives them pleasure. The Etosha Pan of the Great White Place is a dried-up salt bed and covers nearly a quarter of the parkland area. We leave by traversing long dikes to an observation point. In the rainy season, water flows into the pan but evaporates immediately. With more than 130,000 annual visitors, the national park is now Namibia's most important tourist destination. Because of its location and size, it is one of the most beautiful conservation areas in the world, and it's still home to all of Africa's large animals. appetite satisfied, a lazy predatory cat lies in the glowing midday heat and patiently waits for the cool of the night. So that we can observe elephants, we travel through the grass steppes. Small groups of elephants search a large area in order to find muddy pools, so that they can enjoy the water to their heart's content and also protect their skin from annoying insects. Their body language indicates how much they enjoy these mud showers. The park is surrounded by a 1,700-kilometre fence and has few roads, which of course also belong to the animals. In 1907, the German governor Friedrich von Lindequist placed a conservation order on this game reserve. Soon, we meet another group of elephants that leisurely cross the road in front of us without an apparent care in the world. The lion is also king of the animals in the Etosha Park. Bored and uninterested, he looks around, yawning majestically. With her playful offspring in the shade, the lioness is not far away. A happy family life in the middle of the wilderness. The preservation of this natural world is the duty of mankind. The animal and plant world have the right to be conserved and protected, a balance between nature and mankind. A massive herd of elephants rushes quickly to the watering hole to take in its life-giving water through their hose-like trunks. Jungle Book Live. In this fascinating paradise of nature, Namibia is quite rightly a much sought-after tourist destination. White deserts, wild animals, mountains strewn with ravines, white beaches. Africa's southwest is full of colourful surprises.